And we're now going to be joined live in the studio with Allison Young. We're going to be talking all about Promenade. Alison, I was wondering firstly, to start us off, could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes, thanks very much for inviting me in, Dan. Yeah, I've worked in the arts and creative projects for about 20 years on and off. I was an arts officer for different local authorities, and now I work freelance. So I've worked for organisations like the BBC, organising BBC Blast, the Royal Opera House, organising education programmes and creative partnerships in schools throughout Kent and Essex. So I do quite a variety of things, quite often working with community groups and with school groups.
Could you tell us what actually is Promenade?
Well, Promenade's lots of different things, and we're really excited about the event because it's grown from something originally that was quite small to something that's actually a lot bigger than any of us ever anticipated. I mean, Promenade's several things, and basically it is a 3-day celebration of Sheppey's heritage, architecture and art, with a particular focus this year on things happening in Sheerness. And the purpose of Promenade is several things. We want to enable local people to find out more about where they live and just how important Sheppey is in Britain's heritage. We're keen to put Sheppey on the map. Sometimes, in fact, it is actually left off the map, apparently. So we're keen to make sure Sheppey's firmly on the map for people elsewhere to discover fascinating things about the island and its heritage that they didn't know, and perhaps challenge a few misconceptions that are out there. We're also keen that those that are already aware of the island's rich past and want to discover more have the chance to do that, meet like-minded people, and raise the profile of the work that people are doing all over the island around heritage and history. There's an awful lot of groups I've come across, even in the short time I've been working, that are passionate about raising the profile of the island's important heritage, and Promenade will go some way to helping to support them in that.
Could you tell us the overall programme for Promenade?
Well, the Promenade programme has become much, much bigger than any of us ever thought it possibly could be. I mean, this year it's been organised in really quite a short space of time, and we were expecting to probably have only about 10 events at most, and we've ended up with about 27. We're very excited that we've got some amazing guest speakers that are visiting the island for the first time and doing some talks. So we've got Michael Palin and Darren Cruikshank both going to be doing talks at the Sheppey Little Theatre. And then on the Saturday we've got Edwin Heathcote, Ptolemy Dean and Christopher Woodward at the Bluetown Heritage Centre doing a lunchtime discussion. Most people, I'm sure, will be familiar with Michael Palin. I'm afraid he is sold out. He sold out very quickly. We're all looking forward to that. But there are a few tickets still remaining for the other two, for Dan Cruikshank's talk on the Friday night and for the other guys' discussion on the Saturday. But I would advise people to get their tickets quite quickly for those because they are going fast. But we've got, as well as those guest speakers, we've got some amazing other things going on. We've got Academy coming here as part of the Encounter programme, performing Indian dance, which has been developed specifically for the Beachfield site. We've got talks by lots of local experts in some amazing subjects, lots of hands-on activities, a range of exhibitions and events. The events we've got include life-size Punch and Judy, sea shanties, installation art, family trail, which people can come and take part in themselves. We've just found out we've got tours of the dockyard arranged as well, which we're very excited about, because I know it's quite a rare treat to be able to get behind the scenes in the dockyard and see some of the amazing buildings that are there. We've got workshops at the library on how to research your family history, and they're going to be doing a local history showcase as well, where you can come and meet lots of groups and individuals involved in heritage on the island to find out more about your own history, but also to get involved with what they do. We've got an amazing photographic exhibition happening at the Bluetown Heritage Centre by a photographer called George Plemper, who photographed local people at Sheppey School in the 1970s, and they're fascinating because they really are capturing a sort of glam rock moment in time, and indeed some local residents may well find that their pictures are featured in those, so you'd certainly be worth coming along if you were at school in the 70s in Sheppey to come and see those pictures. We've got ghost walks going on, and we've got our own blue plaque scheme, so that's just a few of the things we've got happening. Promenade's been organised by myself working with a steering group of local organisations, So Swale Borough Council and Save Britain's Heritage have been key to that. But we've also got a whole host of other organisations that have supported it, including the Little Theatre, Bluetown Heritage Centre, the Healthy Living Centre, a host of other organisations that have helped us. And everybody's done so voluntarily. And I should also say that our guest speakers, Michael Palin, etc., have also done so voluntarily. So it's been an amazing programme for people to put together in a pretty short space of time.
Alison, can you tell us a bit more about some of the speakers, local speakers, and also some of the other speakers that are coming along?
Yeah, sure. I mean, we've got obviously Michael Palin. I think most people are familiar with Michael Palin. Obviously, he was in Monty Python's Flying Circus, also a writer, and I think more recently, for a lot of people, he's known for his BBC travel series.
Yeah.
He's actually recording one on Brazil at the moment, so that's going to be coming up soon on the BBC. But he's going to be talking about the good, the bad, and the ugly, and which is a variety of different kinds of buildings that he's encountered on his many travels. But as well as Michael, as I said, his talk is now sold out, but we're also very excited to have got Dan Cruikshank coming along. I mean, Dan's a well-known face on the BBC. He's a writer, an architectural historian and broadcaster, and he's done a number of series on the BBC for Around the World in 80 Treasures, his travels in architecture, and his latest series, The Country House Revealed, also involved Shirland Hall on the Isle of Sheppey. So Dan has a particular interest and connection with the island, and he's looking forward to coming and talking to people about the less well-known country houses, including Shirland Hall. In addition to Dan, we've also got our discussion on Saturday at the Bluetown Heritage Centre, where we've got 3 really exciting historians and architects coming to talk. Edwin Heathcote is an architect, designer and writer, and he's the design critic for the Financial Times, and he's written loads of books on different architecture, even about London cafes, London's theatres, and monument builders. So he's done loads of things. Ptolemy Dean is an architect and writer whose firm specialises in conservation work, and people may be familiar with him from BBC Two's Restoration series recently. And Christopher Woodward, he's a writer and historian, and he's director of the Garden Museum in London, and has also been the director of the Holborn Museum in Bath. So he's got an incredible range of stuff that he's done, and we're very lucky to have the 3 of them in discussion at Bluetown. But what we're also very excited about is using the local expertise that we have. There's a lot of people on Sheppey that have incredible knowledge of the area, and we're delighted that they've been keen to take part in Promenade as well. So on the Friday night, we've got a talk about the wreck, the SS Richard Montgomery, the American Liberty ship wrecked off the coast, which I'm sure people are familiar with. And Colin Harvey's going to be there showing a film with the director Ken Rolls, and eyewitness Alfred Cole's going to also be there talking about that, which I'm sure is already proving very popular in terms of tickets, but I think there are just a few left for that as well. On the Saturday, we've got something that people can have a walk and a talk at the same time, with Wish You Were Here, which is our postcard promenade walking tour of Sheerness, where the Big Fish team will be taking big giant postcards around the town with people, and you can go and look at the locations and compare them to the old postcards, which I'm sure will be a fascinating walk around the town on a Saturday morning. And on the Sunday, the gentleman that restored the old courthouse in Bluetown recently, John Barker, is going to be talking about restoring the Grade 2 listed building and his experiences of buying the building at auction and uncovering its secrets as he undertook the restoration there. So we're very excited to have all these experts, as well as more well-known TV people as well.
Alison, what are some of the hidden gems of the festival?
Yeah, we're very excited that in the time we've had, we've already been able to get together a few really unusual things, which hopefully people will be very excited about. Sheerness Dockyard have very kindly granted us rare access to the dockyard for tours every day throughout Promenade, and you can book those by contacting the Bluetown Heritage Centre, and basically we're offering minibus tours of the site, and you'll be able to see behind the scenes of the Royal Naval Dockyard, which was developed in the 17th century there. It's now one of the country's biggest ports, and it's home to a fascinating array of Grade 2 listed buildings, 11 of which were recently rescued by the Spitalfields Trust and Save Britain's Heritage. And there are some fascinating buildings on the site there, and so I know a number of people are very excited, and in fact the first tour booked up almost within half an hour of us actually announcing it. So anybody that would like to have a chance to see around the dockyard is advised to get in to get a ticket for that quickly. We've also very pleased that they've agreed to open Sherland Hall just for the afternoon on the Saturday to complement Dan Cruikshank's talk. Sherland Hall was also rescued by Save Britain's Heritage and English Heritage recently, and has been beautifully restored, and it's a Grade 2 listed Tudor gatehouse which dates back to the 1500s, and it's been described as a mini Hampton Court, and it really is spectacular. And that's actually the only event we've got going on that is not in Sheerness. At the moment all our events are in Sheerness, but that is actually in Eastchurch, but because it is so connected to the talk that Dan's giving us, we've allowed that one to happen. But that's free for anybody that would like to go and have a look around Sherland Hall. That's going to be open between 2 and 5 o'clock on the Saturday afternoon. We've got some amazing treasures from Sheerness Library's archives that the team there have been getting together for us, and that will be on display, and these are things that people can't normally see. And when I was talking to the team there the other day, they're very interested to hear to get their own research supported as well. So as well as them showing the public what they have, they're keen that the public can perhaps help them find out what they've got, because there's a few things that are quite mysteries for them, so they would very much like the public's input to have a look at things and maybe enlighten them as to what some of the objects in their collection are. One of the final things we have, which is a real hidden gem of the festival, which I'd really urge people to take part in, is a possible history of Shrimp Terrace the Big Fish team are doing, which is the first time they've done this. It's part of their Old Man River project, and people are invited to go to number 61 Shrimp Terrace to find the house come to life. So you'll be able to go around the house and meet the cook and many more people from different periods in history. As you go around the different rooms, there'll be different areas of it coming to life through actors and performance going on, which is very exciting. Audiences are limited to 6 because obviously it's in a house. So if you've got perhaps a small group, or you'd like to go and be part of that audience of 6, there'll be hour-long little tour performances happening throughout the house, which will be, really good fun. So we're hoping people will make the most of unearthing the history of Shrimp Terrace, as well as the history of places like the Dockyard.
We are talking to Allison Young this evening. We're talking all about Promenade here at BRFM on the Monday Night Community Show.